Hello everyone, this is Cobalt. This is the next video in my character analysis series for Brawlhalla. Stick around till the end to hear about entering the giveaway to win community colors, emotes, weapon skins, sidekicks, avatars, or even the battle pass, and voting for the next legends. And if you want to skip all this and get straight into the information, there's a timestamp in the description, and don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up with the release of your favorite legend. In these analyses, I wanted to focus solely on the character's signatures. Light attack combos are covered much more in depth than I ever could elsewhere and function pseudo-comparably for all characters of that weapon class. So I'm not going to be discussing the general neutral of the character with their weapons unless it pertains in some way to their signatures. Firstly, I want to give clear descriptions of the terminology I'll be using. Startup frames are the amount of frames that happen after a move has begun until the first hitbox of the move becomes active. Active frames are the duration of frames that the move contains hitboxes that can collide with your opponent. FAF, or First Actionable Frame, is the first frame available where your character is able to move again after the move has been started. For all of this data, I use the character's jump to display the first actionable frame. Lastly, on miss refers to the move not connecting with an opponent, and on hit refers to the move making contact with an opponent. I'm going to be doing my analysis today on the next voted in legend, Queen Nai. Queen Nai's long existing kingdom was on the verge of extinction, and even the gods as well. So Nai cast a spell, absorbing the 11 remaining gods in her kingdom, and during a battle was offered a place in Brawlhalla, which she graciously accepted, with her goal being to recover the energy of the gods that inhabited her. Nai's weapons are Spear and Katars. She's seen very sparse uses in the competitive metagame, and I think that there are several reasons for that. She has a stat spread of 7 attack, 4 dexterity, 8 defense, and 3 speed. The stat spread is obviously designed to be a hard-hitting, heavy attacker that's also incredibly tanky and pretty slow, which she certainly does. Her SIGs kill really early, and she survives for a long time thanks to the defensive stats. But her lower speed can certainly make things a little harder for her. Additionally, she's one of the most spammed legends in the game. So, do her SIGs help her out in terms of her competitive viability, or are they a contributing factor to what's holding her back? Well, let's find out. Let's start with her Spear. Spear side SIG has 19 frames of startup, active frames from 20 to 33 with an FAF of 56. It functions the same on miss as it does on hit. Nai thrusts her spear forward in front of her and summons 3 spirit serpents from the spear outward. The SIG has average startup and slightly below average FAF. It offers her good coverage in front of her with decent distance coverage and reasonable active frames. It's just okay to me, honestly, and her other SIGs have much more range, but this one is definitely a good punish option and can be good after an opponent neutral dodges out of a side light. Spear neutral SIG has 13 frames of startup, active frames from 14 to 29 with an FAF of 46. It functions the same on miss as it does on hit. Nai summons twin serpents that extend upward at an angle. The SIG has really fast startup and pretty solid FAF as well. In terms of frame data, it's really good, and it offers her good coverage for opponents jumping or recovering high. Additionally, it can catch both grounded opponents as well as airborne ones, and dual coverage coming off of frame data like this makes for an incredibly good signature in my opinion, given its reach and hitbox size. It can also cover dodge reads after Spear downlight. Spear down SIG has 27 frames of startup, active frames from 28 to 38 with an FAF of 62. It functions the same on miss as it does on hit. Nai leaps backward and summons an enormous spirit serpent that extends outward and downward. The SIG has above average frame data in both terms of its startup and its FAF. It has an enormous range, which is likely due to why it's used so often. These hitboxes aren't as prevalent as I thought that they would be, but they're quite large and extend really far. It covers multiple ledge options at once thanks to its size, but can certainly be punished thanks to its high FAF given that you're in the correct position to do so. Otherwise, you'll just have to respect its range. It's a gigantic signature, so it can definitely pose problems for people if they don't know how to properly evade it. Next up is her Katars. Katars side SIG has 24 frames of startup, active frames from 25 to 31 with an FAF of 56. It functions the same on miss as it does on hit. Nai rushes forward and swings her Katars in front of her forward, summoning a Spirit Wing. The SIG has above average startup thanks to its movement and slightly below average FAF. It has decent coverage in front of her, kills really early, and can function as a really powerful punish option. The downside to it though is that due to its lower startup and movement without hitboxes, other moves with better frame data or hitboxes like downlight on gauntlets or hammer can out-prioritize it. So just be aware of that if you're going to use it, and it can be punished if you're in the right spot to do so. Katars neutral SIG has 16 frames of startup, active frames from 17 to 38 and 40 to 51 with an FAF of 88. It functions the same on miss as it does on hit. Nai jumps upward and summons a spirit-like bird from her Katars. The SIG has pretty low startup honestly, but a really high FAF. She's still in the air whenever she's able to move again, so if you're trying to punish it, be aware of this. The hitboxes on this SIG are pretty large as well and extend for a pretty high duration. It catches opponents jumping and recovering high very well. It's used quite a bit as an anti-aerial thanks to its low startup and abundant hitboxes. Katars down sig has 17 frames of startup, active frames from 18 to 29 with an FAF of 51. It functions the same on miss as it does on hit. Now I summon Spirit Wings on either side of her. This move has pretty good startup and below average FAF and covers on both sides of her. The hitboxes on it are solid as well, hitting stacked and away from her. It doesn't have a huge amount of horizontal reach, but it definitely does the job and has its utility. So overall, her SIGs are frankly a little faster than I thought that they would be in terms of their startup, and a little bit better in terms of their FAF than I personally think they should be, but hey. Her SIGs have really good range on them and coverage in multiple areas. I think that her neutral SIG on Spear was probably the most interesting SIG on her kit to me, and its frame data is absolutely insane. Her down SIG on Spear has incredible range that it just baffles me how far that it goes. The SIGs are obviously spammed a lot online, due to their pretty decent frame data, really good kill power, and range. They aren't unpunishable per se, but if you're any distance away from her on Spear SIGs, you're gonna have a rough time. I think that these SIGs likely aren't necessarily what's holding her back. They aren't the best signatures out there, but they aren't bad either, and do have some conversions out of her kit, not to mention their enormous range on most of them. I think that her stats likely play a larger factor in her difficulties in competitive play, but I think she'll see some occasional uses from time to time without a doubt. Today's code to put down in the comments is Medusa, along with your Twitter handle or social media of your preference, and if you get that reference, I appreciate it. Also, feel free to check out my Twitch channel. I'll be streaming later this week doing 1v1 battles with viewers, so come say hello. The channel will be linked in the description down below. Tune in tomorrow for coverage on the highest voted legend from this week. I'll be continuing this once a day, Monday through Friday, over the next 10 weeks until all 50 legends are covered. So, thanks for joining me on this ride. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the release of your favorite legend, and hope to see you back for the next one. Once again, I'm Cobalt, and thanks for watching.